Welcome to Mastermind with me, John Humphrys. In the spotlight tonight, Adrienne Holt, a retired civil servant whose specialist subject is Charles Dickens' female characters. Hazid Raja, an economic researcher who will be answering questions on the Mughal Empire. Emily Lawrence, a doctor whose subject is the life and legacy of Elizabeth Garrett Anderson. And Lewis Barn, a trainee solicitor whose specialist subject is Rod Serling's The Twilight Zone. Tonight's contenders will, as ever, answer questions for 2 minutes on their specialist subject and then 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. And the clock is king. One of our contenders will go through to the semi-finals and the prospect, ultimately, of winning the biggest prize in quizzing, the title of Mastermind Champion. So let's get on with it and ask our first contender to join us, please. And your name is?
Adrienne Holt.
Your occupation?
Retired civil servant.
And your chosen subject?
It's Charles Dickens' female characters.
The women in the novels of that great celebrated Victorian author. 2 minutes starting now. Which character in Great Expectations is known to the local townsfolk as an immensely rich and grim lady who lived in a large and dismal house barricaded against robbers?
Miss Havisham.
Yes. What is the first name of the character known in the title of the novel as Little Dorrit?
Amy.
Yep. In Martin Chuzzlewit, the nurse Mrs. Gamp is noted for carrying an item that's described as having a colour like a faded leaf, except where a circular patch of a lively blue had been dexterously let in at the top. What item?
Umbrella.
Yep. In A Tale of Two Cities, the villainous Madame Defarge is killed during a struggle with Lucia Manette's servant, Miss Pross. What weapon accidentally causes her death?
Is it a knitting needle?
No, it's a pistol. A style of late 19th century ladies' fashion was named after a character in Barnaby Rudge, whom Dickens described as the very pink and pattern of good looks. Which character?
Is it Dolly Varden?
It is. In Oliver Twist, Nancy tells Rose Maylie that she will walk on London Bridge every Sunday night so that she may be contacted again. Between which hours does she say she'll be there?
I think, is it 6 till 10?
11 and 12.
Oh.
In Bleak House, Esther Summerson is revealed to be the daughter of Lady Dedlock. And which military character?
It's Nero.
No, it's Captain Horden.
Yeah.
In the old curiosity shop, Dick Swiveller eventually marries a servant girl whom he's come to know by an aristocratic title. What title has he given her?
The Marchioness.
Yes. Although she was supposed to marry Arthur Gride, Madeline Bray eventually weds which of Dickens' title characters?
Nicholas Nickleby.
Is correct. In Our Mutual Friend, the doll's dressmaker, Fanny Cleaver, prefers to be known by what name?
Jenny Wren.
Is correct. In Dombey and Son, what is the name of the rag and bone dealer who snatches Florence Dombey in the street and steals her fine clothes?
Is it Good Mrs. Brown?
It is. In the Pickwick Papers, Mary, the future wife of Sam Weller, at one point works as a housemaid to the mayor of Ipswich. What's his name?
I don't know his name, sorry.
Take that as a pass. The mother of David Copperfield and the lady who nursed him as a child have the same first name. What name?
Peggotty.
It's Clara.
Oh.
You knew it,
Of course,
didn't you?
Clara Peggotty as well, yes.
You had one pass. Mary, the future wife of Sam Weller, worked as a housemaid to the mayor of Ipswich, whose name was George Nupkins.
Oh.
You have scored, however, 8 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Hazid Raja,
Your occupation?
economic researcher,
And your specialist subject?
the Mughal Empire.
The dynastic empire which ruled much of the Indian subcontinent for centuries. Here we go, 2 minutes, starting now. Which descendant of the Mongol ruler Tamerlan established the Mughal Empire after his victory over Ibrahim Lodi at the First Battle of Panipat in 1526?
Babur.
Correct. The bejeweled golden throne of the Mughal emperors, commissioned by Shah Jahan, took craftsmen 7 years to make. What's it called?
Peacock throne.
Yes. After his defeat by Sher Khan at the Battle of Choza, the Second Mughal Empire, Hum-Arayun, escaped by swimming across which river?
The Ganges.
Yep. Which building in Delhi is widely believed to have been used by Humayun as his library and observatory? He died there after he fell on its staircase.
Lal Killa,
Shermandal. Which city was built by the Emperor Akbar in gratitude for the birth of his son Salim and served as his seat of government until 1585?
Fatehpur Sikri,
Yes. What was the name of the poll tax levied on non-Muslims that was abolished by Akbar in 1564 and was later reintroduced by Aurangzeb?
Jizya,
Yes. In which city was Babur so offended by the statues of naked Jain holy men that he ordered them to be destroyed?
Palitana,
Gwalior. Which wife of Jahangir accumulated so much control over the empire that by the time of Jahangir's death, she was de facto ruler? One courtier remarked that the king was such only in name.
Nur Jahan,
Yes. Which formal gardens in Lahore, laid out in 1641 at the command of Shah Jahan, were supplied by water carried for more than 100 miles by a canal called the Shah Nahar?
Shalimar,
Yes. Which Persian ruler captured Kandahar in 1738 and Lahore in 1739 and went on to defeat Muhammad Shah at Hanal?
Nadir Shah,
Yes. In order to ensure Shah Jahan's succession to the throne, Asaf Khan sent a fast runner to inform him of Jahangir's death. What was the name of the runner?
Pass,
The Zafarnama, or Epistle of Victory, was a defiant letter that justified the taking up of arms. It was written in 1705 to Aurangzeb, by which Sikh guru?
Guru Gobind Singh,
Yes. After the Indian Mutiny of 1857, the British sent the last Mughal Emperor, Bahadur Shah II, into exile. He died in which city?
Rangoon,
Is correct. You had just one pass. In order to ensure Shah Jahan's succession to the throne, he sent a fast runner, and the name of that runner was Banarasi. You have scored 10 points.
thank you.
And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Emily Lawrence,
Your occupation?
doctor.
And your chosen subject?
The life and legacy of Elizabeth Garrett Anderson.
A pioneer who became the first English woman to qualify as a medical doctor. Here we go, 2 minutes. In 1859, Garrett Anderson's interest in studying medicine was first aroused after a conversation with an American doctor whose lecture she'd just attended. What was her name?
Elizabeth Blackwell.
Yes. At which hospital did Garrett Anderson begin work as a nurse in a surgical ward in 1860 in the hope of eventually entering the medical school there?
The Middlesex.
Yes. What publication ran an editorial in July 1861 which dismissed Garrett Anderson's efforts to become a doctor as a restless, morbid agitation in which no worthwhile principle was involved?
The Lancet.
Yes. Which London hospital was renamed the Elizabeth Garrett Anderson Hospital after her death in 1917? It had its origins in the St. Mary's Dispensary for Women, which she had started in 1866.
The New Hospital for Women.
Yes. Which statesman did Garrett Anderson and her sister Millicent visit in his villa near Rome during a trip to Italy in 1875? They obtained a signed photograph of him.
Garibaldi.
Yes. In 1883, Garrett Anderson was appointed to a position at the London School of Medicine for Women, a post she held for 2 decades. What post?
The Dean.
She was. What was the name of the physician at the Middlesex Hospital who tutored Garrett Anderson privately at the cost of 1 guinea a week?
Joshua Plaskett.
Dr. Willis. In 1908, Garrett Anderson became the first woman mayor in Britain when she was appointed mayor of the Suffolk town in which she'd been brought up. Which town?
Aldborough.
Yep. When Garrett Anderson and her sister Louisa attended the boarding school for ladies in Blackheath, at their father's insistence, they were given something once a week that marked them out from the rest of the pupils. What was it?
A hot bath.
Yes. During the late 1860s, Garrett Anderson's support for certain acts of Parliament was criticised by her friends in the women's movement who were calling for their repeal. Which acts?
The Contagious Diseases Act.
Yes. In 1870, Garrett Anderson joined the staff of which children's hospital? It was here that she met her future husband, James.
The East London Hospital for Children.
Yes, or the Shadwell, yeah. What medical condition was the subject of Garrett Anderson's thesis for her Paris MD degree, which she was awarded in 1870?
Migraine.
Yes. In 1873, Garrett Anderson, studies all finished, became a member of what professional body? She was its only female member for 19 years.
The BMA.
The BMA, the British Medical Association. You got no passes, you've scored 12 points. And our final contender, please. And your name is?
Lewis Barn,
Your occupation?
trainee solicitor.
And your specialist subject?
Rod Serling's at the Twilight Zone.
The original incarnation of the influential science fiction television series. And here we go, 2 minutes of it, starting now. The Twilight Zone originally ran from 1959 to 64. Which American television network broadcast the series at that time?
CBS.
Yep. What was the name of Rod Serling's production company which produced the series for CBS? The company was named after a lake in New York State.
Cayuga Productions.
Yes. Which future Star Trek actor appeared in 2 episodes of The Twilight Zone? He played Don Carter in Nick of Time and Bob Wilson in Nightmare at 20,000 Feet.
William Shatner.
Yep. In The Mighty Casey, what is the full name of the baseball team that signs up the talented pitcher named Casey, who's actually a robot?
The Hoboken Zephyrs.
Yep. Which actor, who would later play a villain in 2 James Bond films, appeared as a representative of the alien race, the Canamits, in the episode To Serve Man?
Richard Keel.
Yes. In the pilot episode, Where Is Everybody?, Sergeant Mike Ferris suffers from delusions while he's in solitary confinement in preparation for a trip to the moon. What is the name of the abandoned town he believes he's visiting?
Oakwood.
Yes. In an episode of season 4, the talentless scriptwriter Julius Moomer magically summons Shakespeare to write screenplays on his behalf. What is the title of the episode?
The Bard.
Yep. In Nothing in the Dark, the role of the wounded police officer Harold Belden is played by a young actor later to become one of Hollywood's best-known performers and directors. Which actor?
Robert Redford.
Yep. What is the single-word title of the episode in which Charles Bronson and Elizabeth Montgomery play enemy soldiers in a devastated world who fall in love?
2.
Yep. Who wrote 8 episodes of the series, including the last one to be broadcast, The Bewitching Pool? He later created the television series The Waltons, based on his own upbringing in Virginia.
Earl Hamner Jr.
Yep. In The Old Man in the Cave, an army officer from Central States Command, played by James Coburn, encourages people to eat contaminated food supplies. What's his name?
French.
Yes. A single drama entitled The Time Element is considered to be the unofficial pilot episode for The Twilight Zone and was broadcast as part of an anthology series in November 1958. Which anthology?
Westinghouse Desalu Playhouse.
Correct. Which author, who died in 1967, wrote the most scripts for The Twilight Zone? Apart from Rod Serling, his episodes include Perchance to Dream, The Howling Man, and Printer's Devil.
Richard Matheson.
Oh!
Is it Charles Beaumont?
Yes!
Oh.
And it's too late. You would have had a full house. However, you have a miserly, magnificent 12 points.
Thank you.
So that brings us to the end of a rather thrilling first round of specialist subjects. Let's have a look at the scores. In 4th place with 8 points, Adrienne. 3rd place with 10 points, Hazit. Joint 1st place, 12 points apiece, Emily and Lewis. So, it is the general knowledge round now. And if there's a tie at the end of it, which there very well might be, then the number of passes is taken into account, and the person with the fewer passes is the winner. And if they're tied on passes as well, there has to be a tie break. So, let's get on with it and ask Adrienne to join us again, please. You start out, Adrienne, with 8 points, so it is very tight, because you have 2.5 minutes in which to answer these general knowledge questions and catch up and overtake the rest of the field. So, here we go. What name is traditionally given to the long, thin container used by an archer to carry arrows?
Quiver.
Yes. The works of a Spanish surrealist artist include Self-Portrait with Raphael's neck, Self-Portrait splitting into 3, and Soft Self-Portrait with fried bacon. Which artist?
Salvador Dali.
Yes. What pungent side dish of fermented vegetables, usually made from cabbage, is the national dish of Korea?
Pak Chow.
Kimchi. Which Irish rock group released the albums Songs of Innocence and Songs of Experience? The former was given away free to everyone with an iTunes account, whether they wanted it or not.
You too?
Yes. In which Scottish city did the Victoria and Albert open a new museum of design in 2018? It's the first V&A museum outside London.
Glasgow.
Dundee. Cannonball and lion's mane are both species of which invertebrate sea creature?
Jellyfish.
Yes. In theatre production, the letters ASM are an abbreviation of what job title?
Assistant stage manager.
Correct. What 3-letter word is used in horse racing to describe the colour of a horse with a reddish-brown coat and a black mane and tail?
Bay.
Yep. In music, what Italian name is given to a virtuoso solo passage inserted into a movement of a concerto or other work, typically near the end?
Pass.
What word for a tall, four-sided, tapering stone pillar with a pointed top set up as a monument or landmark comes from the Greek for a small spit or nail?
Obelisk.
Yes. Which BAFTA-winning television comedy series that was written by and stars Sharon Horgan and Rob Delaney features the final acting role of Carrie Fisher?
Friends?
Catastrophe.
Oh,
The
no.
number of atoms, molecules or ions in 1 mole of a substance is always equal to a particular number. This number is named after which Italian physicist?
Pass.
What name is given to the small hammer used both by auctioneers to finalize a sale and by people in charge of public meetings to command attention?
Gavel.
Yep. In America, which New England state has the official nickname the Bay State, a reference to the numerous bays along its coastline?
Florida.
Massachusetts. Oedipus Rex and Oedipus at Colonus are 2 of the 7 complete surviving works of a 5th century BC Greek playwright. Which playwright?
Ovid.
Sophocles. Which Labour Prime Minister is the only British politician to have held all 4 major offices of state during the 20th century? He served as Chancellor, Home Secretary and Foreign Secretary before he became Prime Minister in 1976.
Harold Wilson, but and
Don't-
it's not. I know.
No, you're a wee bit out, but not
I know
very
I
much.
am,
Anyway, it was James Callaghan.
Oh,
You're right. And you
okay.
had 2 passes. Amadeo Avogadro is the Italian physicist after which
him.
that very curious number of atoms, etc.
No idea, no.
Well, quite. You and me both. And the virtuoso solo passage at the end of the work is the cadenza. Anyway, you've now gone up, Adrienne, to 16 points.
Thank you.
And now, Hazit again, please. And you start out, as you will know, Hazit, with 10 points. 16 is, as we speak, the score to beat. You have 2.5 minutes of general knowledge starting now. Who was sworn in for the 4th 6-year term as President of Russia in 2018?
Putin.
Yes. Which UK Sunday tabloid newspaper published its final edition on July the 10th, 2011, after it became embroiled in a phone hacking scandal?
News of the World.
Correct. Which Field Marshal, who was created an Earl in 1919, played a leading role in the formation of the Royal British Legion after the First World War?
Hague.
Yes. In the nursery rhyme, there was an old lady who swallowed a fly. What is the final animal she swallows just before she dies?
Mosquito.
A horse. What is the better-known name of the Italian Baroque artist born Michelangelo Merisi? His works include the 1601 paint of the Supper at Emmaus, which is unusual for the period and that depicts Christ without a beard.
Pass.
In Greek mythology, on her marriage to Zeus, the earth goddess Gaia gave Hera a tree that bore golden specimens of what fruit?
Apple.
Yes. Which American author wrote the novels Blood Meridian, No Country for Old Men, and The Road?
Pass.
In which North African country is the Roman amphitheatre of El Jam? It was built around AD 238 and is considered one of the finest works of Roman architecture.
Libya.
Tunisia. What is the name of the numeral system sometimes known as base 16, which is frequently used in modern computing?
Pass.
A type of display used in digital watches and other devices is often referred to as an LCD. What does the letter C stand for in this
Crystal.
abbreviation?
Crystal.
Yes. Which international organization was founded in 1919 with the aim of achieving collective security and post-war disarmament between countries?
League of Nations.
You're correct. Which former MasterChef winner and co-founder of the Oaxaca chain of restaurants wrote the cookbooks Mexican Food Made Simple and Chili Notes?
Thomasina Myers.
Yes. The name of a feast celebrated in mid-December in honor of a Roman god of agriculture, usually equated with the Greek Kronos, has become a term for an occasion of wild indulgence. What feast?
Pass.
The Soviet athlete Olga Korbut won 3 gold medals at the 1972 Munich Olympics. In which sport?
Shot put.
Gymnastics. What term is used for an unfledged, immature pigeon? It also refers specifically to the meat of a young domesticated pigeon raised for food.
Pass.
Before he became president of the European Council in 2014, Donald Tusk served as prime minister of which country?
Poland.
He is correct. You have 5 passes, Hazit. The immature pigeon is the squab. Saturnalia is the name of that Roman feast. Hexadecimal is the numeral system, sometimes known as base 16. Cormac McCarthy wrote Blood Meridian and The Road and so on. And Caravaggio was the Italian Baroque artist for whom I was looking. However, you have now reached 18 points. And now, Emily, again, please. And you start out with 12 points. The score to beat has now risen to 18. So, let's see how you do with your general knowledge. 2.5 minutes of it starting now. Which Parisian landmark was the world's tallest building from its completion in 1889 until the topping off of the Chrysler Building in New York in 1930?
The Eiffel Tower?
Yes, the Chinese gooseberry was rebranded by New Zealand growers in the late 1950s. What new name was it given?
Kiwi fruit?
Yep. What double-edged broadsword has a name that comes from the Scots Gaelic for great sword? It was a favourite weapon of Scottish Highlanders.
Sabre.
Claymore. In greyhound racing in Great Britain, a dog wearing an orange jacket with a black numeral will start from which trap number?
4.
5. Which actress who died in 2019 starred as the singer Ruth Etting in the 1955 film musical Love Me or Leave Me? In the film, she also sings the title song.
Doris Day.
Yep. A famous painting by J.N.W. Turner, subtitled The Great Western Railway, depicts a train crossing a bridge over the Thames near Maidenhead. Which painting?
Flying Scotsman.
Rain, Steam and Speed. What name for the regions around the North Pole comes from the Greek word for a bear?
The Antarctic.
The Arctic. What type of precipitation is defined by the UK Met Office as solid precipitation in the form of balls or pieces of ice?
Hail.
Yep. Which Welsh town was the birthplace of the comedian and magician Tommy Cooper? His statue stands opposite a 13th century castle that hosts the Big Cheese Festival every year.
A Caerphilly.
Yes. On what television quiz show, first hosted by Bob Holness in 1983 and later by Michael Aspel, Lisa Tarbuck and Dara O'Brien, could contestants win prizes by completing a gold run?
Blockbusters.
Correct. What style of riding breeches that are loose-fitting around the hips, tight-fitting from the knees to the ankles, are named after a city in northwest India?
Jodhpurs.
Yep. In Wendy Cope's first published volume of poetry, Making Cocoa for Kingsley Amis, a classic work by T.S. Eliot is reduced to 5 limericks. Which work?
Pass.
Which actor plays the stranded NASA astronaut Mark Watney in the 2015 film The Martian?
Matt Damon.
Yep. Winnipeg is the largest city and capital of which Canadian province?
Ontario.
Manitoba. Which Swedish chemist is credited with the invention of dynamite? He requested in his will that his fortune be used to finance a set of awards for individuals deemed to have conferred benefit upon mankind.
Alfred Noble.
Correct. Carrie Ann and He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother were 2 of the many UK hit singles in the 1960s. For which British group?
The Hollies.
Yep. What name derived from a Greek word that means swift is given to a hypothetical particle which travels faster than the speed of light?
Photon.
Tachyon. No, me. However, you had one pass. That work that Wendy Cope used for her volume of poetry, Making Cocoa for Kingsley Amis, was The Wasteland. Yes. You have, however, Emily, now leapt up to 22 points. And finally, Lewis again, please. So, Lewis, 12 in the bag, 22 to beat to get through to the semi-finals. Let's see if you can do it. Here we go. What element with the chemical symbol He is the lightest of the inert or noble gases?
Helium.
Yep. Which sitar player and composer is widely credited with popularizing Indian classical music in the West? He was dubbed the godfather of world music by his friend and student, George Harrison.
Ravi Shankar.
Yep. Haddington Hill near Wendover in Buckinghamshire is the highest point of which range of chalk hills?
Brecon Beacons.
Chilterns. According to a proverb applied to someone whose quiet manner may mask a passionate nature, what kind of waters run deep?
Still.
Yes. What was the name of the naval officer who commanded Germany's Second World War U-boat fleet and briefly succeeded Adolf Hitler as German head of state?
Rommel.
Dönitz, who made her first Instagram post on March 7th, 2019, when she shared an image of a letter to Prince Albert from the inventor and mathematician Charles Babbage.
The Queen.
Yeah. The River Danube flows east through Europe and empties into which body of sea?
And the Mediterranean.
The Black Sea. What word for the discovery of new information by happy accident was coined in the 18th century by the writer Horace Walpole?
Serendipity.
Yep. What traditional Scottish dish comprises a sheep's stomach lining stuffed with a minced mixture of offal, onions, oatmeal and mutton fat?
Haggis.
Yep. Who presented The Organist Entertains on BBC Radio 2 from 1980 till the show was axed in a station reshuffle in 2018?
Malone.
Nigel Ogden. Which planet in our solar system is the 5th largest in size but has the greatest density?
Venus.
No, Earth. Which nursery rhyme of French origin is sometimes known in English as Brother John?
Frere Jacques.
Yes. Kylie Minogue's younger sister began her career in Australian soap operas, had the first of several UK hit singles in 1991, and went on to become a judge on television talent shows. What's her first name?
Fanny.
Yeah. What name is given to the arrangement of letters of decreasing size that's used to test eyesight? It's named after the Dutch ophthalmologist who introduced it.
The Snellen test.
The Snellen chart, yeah. According to the book of Genesis, what vessel was made of gopher wood and measured 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide and 30 cubits high?
Noah's Ark.
Correct. Which veteran British talk show host wrote the 2018 book George Best, a memoir, a unique biography of a football icon? He first interviewed the footballer in 1963.
Michael Palin.
Parkinson. What collective name is given to the 8 American universities in the northeast of the country that have an academic and social reputation similar to that of Oxford and Cambridge in the UK?
Ivy League.
Correct. Which Irish dramatist wrote the plays Juno and the Paycock and The Plough and the Stars?
George Bernard Shaw.
No, it was Sean O'Casey. Well, it didn't matter that you didn't get that last one right, Lewis, because you have a total of 23 points. So let's have a look at the final scores. In 4th place with 16 points, Adrienne. In 3rd place with 18 points, Hazit. 2nd place with 22 points, Emily. 1st place with 23 points, Lewis. Which means, of course, that Lewis goes through to the semi-finals. Congratulations to him. And if you would like to be a contender in the next series of Mastermind, do go to our website, bbc.co.uk/mastermind, and you can follow us at Mastermind Quiz. And do join us again next time for more Masterminds. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
I knew from speaking to my fellow contenders backstage that this wasn't going to be an easy task. As we see from the final scoreline, that certainly wasn't the case. Emily in particular, I thought had cinched it in the general knowledge round, so I was very thankful to have come out on top just.
23 points.
I'm just absolutely elated to have won this episode. Hopefully the momentum carries through to the semi-final where the competition will be even greater. So I'll just keep my fingers and everything else crossed that it goes well.